March 15th, meeting of the Permanent Building Committee. Do we have minute? We do have minutes
Oh,
from
those are from the last time.
the last time that
Need to
I
be
will
signed.
sign. Bob, do we have any
No.
correspondence?
I just left it a little while ago, no mail.
Okay. Okay, oh. Unmute. There, can you hear us now, Mike?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
All righty. And who is Fuller? Who is Fuller?
That's Alvin Fuller.
Okay.
Fire department.
Hi, how are you?
That's nice he's listening.
She's, one of the firefighters, deputy chief.
Okay. So we are here this evening and Sherry should be joining us. I don't have a mic. Okay, that's good. Fuller doesn't have a mic, but we're all set. People are going to be joining us via Zoom as well as while we're here. And I don't see Sherry yet, so we will just begin with the town hall council on aging portion of the meeting.
Is her son on the basketball team? Or playing tennis?
So, for the beginning, did everyone, I sent this out electronically, it was the timeline?
Yes.
Did everybody get a hold of that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So that we know what the timeline is expected to be for both the town hall and the senior center,
Yep.
support center. Over the past month, Bob Maderos and I have been attending meetings with the CoA and the town hall personnel to go over, in conjunction with DBBW, the internal spacing of the buildings and where the rooms are. We've met with the town hall people twice. We've met with the CoA twice. And tomorrow, we will be doing tours of the Council on Aging in Walpole and in Situate. Okay, I'm going to be able to go to the Walpole one. I will not be able to go to Situate. Bob, you won't be able to go.
Either one of them, I'm working.
Yeah. Bob Briscoe is going to go. Jim, would you be interested in going?
When is it?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning at 11 at the Walpole Library, and then at 1 o'clock at the Situate Library.
I'm leaving
Council
for
on-
Maryland.
Council on Aging.
Council on Aging, yeah. What, I'm sorry.
I have to teach in Delaware. I'm leaving tomorrow morning, so I can't.
Okay. And your work, excuse me, and Mark is working, okay, so
Yeah.
Yes.
we will just,
Take a vacation day.
So Bob, you can report back on the Situate COA, and we'll both be at the Walpole COA at 11.
We'll take photos and things as well. We can update people perhaps afterwards.
Okay, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Is Beth coming?
Yeah,
Beth's
Beth,
going.
Beth
Beth's
is,
going,
I was
yeah.
just speaking of committee members who were going to report back. As of right now, we think we've really tightened up the internal workings of the COA and the internal workings of the town hall. We will also be meeting next week on, trying to see what it is,
16th?
on the 16th.
24th, yeah.
The 24th, thank you. With the fire chief, the police chief, and the library director,
And Public Works.
and Public Works, since their area is going to be impacted by the construction of the new town hall. So there's all kinds of activity happening on the subcommittee level, and we seem to be moving very well ahead, I would think. There are two things that we have to discuss tonight, and DBBW is here to go over some of them with us. But, Mr. Units, we also have a proposal from W&S for sewer connection work. Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Study options.
Would you,
Can you turn the speaker up? I mean, the volume?
okay, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So,
Good, you're up all the way.
we had a meeting with Weston Sampson
Can you
to
turn
talk
that-
about the different options for tying into SOAR. And most of those options are shown here, one isn't. But the first option we talked about was coming across
Can you click
and
into
tying into the North Cottage sewer system. And
right there?
the water and sewer
Up in the corner. there.
engineer and
This one? No.
emphasized
Yeah,
that
one.
they didn't oversee that project when that line was put in, so they're not confident in that line. And if we went across the street, we'd also have to take over that system more than likely. Another option that's not shown here, that's an option we talked about with them on the Zoom, and we'd like them to look at, is to come down to Pine Street. What we'd do is we'd go out behind the library and come out on to Elm Street and come across to Pine and tie into the sewer line where it comes out of Wheaton College onto Pine Street. And, that obviously would be a shorter distance than some of these other options. So we'd like them to look into that. Another option was to extend sewer all the way down to the intersection of 123 and 140 and tie into the manhole down there. And another option was to tie into this line that Wheaton has that crosses 123 and go through their system. That may involve some issues with Wheaton College if we do that. Another option is to come out onto Elm Street again and run the sewer line all the way down to Reservoir. And part of that cost would be picked up by a company that is now looking to purchase the old Reed and Barton facility and build apartments there. So those were the options that they looked at. They gave us a proposal to look at the options of $38,000. And I don't know if Steve or has anything you'd want to add.
Yeah, Mike, I took a look at it. It would seem reasonable for that type of a study. And I think it would be beneficial for the project if we could tie into the sewer as opposed to designing and installing a septic system with the leaching field and all that goes with that.
One option I didn't mention was running down to the sewer interceptor at the hump on 123 with our own line. The only issue there is that I know that MFN has told Island Brook, that's looking to develop the property, a 40B in that area, that they don't want another line tying into that manhole.
Well, I'll start off. Excuse me, the committee questions. Funding for this, is it included in the project funding to begin with, or is this additional?
Separate project, it should be.
Mike,
Say that again, Dinah?
Sewer project.
is this within the original project funding?
It would either come out of the original project funding or out of the money that we have remaining.
Okay, and we've been asking for a while how much money, what the total of the money is we have remaining. Do you have that total now?
I don't. I'll have James get that for you.
Okay, because we've, I know Bob Maderos and I have been asking for a couple of weeks how much there is there, and we'd really
Yeah.
like an answer
Sure.
to that.
Yep,
So this would have to be something that would be taken with those, out of those funds, and we don't even know
Right.
if there's a balance to cover this in those funds.
yep, I'll look into that.
Could you get back to me tomorrow with a
Yeah.
number, please? I would really appreciate that. 'Cause
No problem.
I don't think the committee, personally, I don't think the committee can move forward on this recommendation until we know whether or not there's money there.
Yep.
Jim?
I don't think in any of the projections we made, we figured in sewer connections at all. I mean, the only talk we had was going across the street
Street and hooking up.
to the house in the Pines, and that was the only, there was some discussion of going out through the back way, but most of the discussions that I can remember was just going, and it was gonna, quote, be simple, if anything can be simple in construction, but just go across the street and connect in. So I don't think there was any funds directly allocated within any of the projections that we did, so I'm thinking this is gonna be an additional cost.
Bob?
I understood that they were gonna run the 4 units, library, town hall, fire department, police department into a pump station. They were gonna pump it across the road. Am I right or wrong?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Now, a price was never given, all right, so I don't know what the price is. But I remember we were discussing that.
That's correct.
That's, I remember hearing that too.
Okay. Everything will go into one and then shot across the road and go where it's gonna go.
That's correct.
Well, I think behind the library to Elm Street across the way is the best way. That sounds like the smartest way. That's my opinion. I don't wanna get involved with the other stuff.
Okay, I think Bob.
Well, I
Comment
was just gonna
from
say,
Jim?
I heard the same thing as Bob heard. And I think if there's more, I think it's a time to do the project, but I think there ought to be other funding that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, we have some money tucked away somewhere. We don't know how much.
We just don't know how much. And
That funding that we have tucked away.
But that shouldn't go for this, that shouldn't go for the sewer system.
It all depends on what they've got in their kitty hand, about what they have in theirs. Now, I'm trying to squeeze some money out of that money that we
Yeah.
have tucked away for a new garage.
Right, exactly.
Right, so I'm trying to get that money out of there, if I can squeeze it out, all right? So I think that the sewer line pump station across the street works. I know there's a high pressure line across the street from the house and appliance that goes up to the tracks, the old tracks. 'Cause I remember putting that one in, 2-inch line, high pressure, all right? But from that point on, I don't know what's there. I have no idea.
Jim?
I think what becomes complicated here is there's 4 other town buildings there. Why should we fund out of our project the main
That-
lines going everywhere when the fire station, library, highway department are all gonna tie in to this system? It becomes a town project and probably, heaven forbid, it'll end up in our lap, but it becomes a separate project if the whole campus is gonna get tied in, like Bob mentions, into a pumping station to push it left or right of the campus.
Mark?
I think that was always the idea, though,
Yeah.
Jim, that the municipal center would be tied together
Yeah.
sewer-wise, all the
It's gonna be one
buildings.
group.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a longer-term solution makes sense to connect the municipal complex to
So,
one of these lines without a pump station.
yeah, because you put a septic system in.
No matter what, there'll be a pump station, just because of the way that
Valve.
all the
Yeah.
building, because we're a bit downgrade from the street.
You-
It's just the question of, everything's gonna gravity to a pump station. The question is where that pump station is pushing to, and how
You-
far.
you put a
The
septic
goal had
system-
been basically into the
Yeah.
street, connecting to the line that serves the building across the street.
You know, my train of
That's a
thought,
private
you
line.
put a septic system in, now it's gonna bite you somewhere down the road.
Right.
It always does,
Yeah.
all right?
I think this is the point of the study, really, to understand
What we can do.
in
Bob?
conditions and so, yeah.
I have a couple questions. One is, I think you're right, we need to understand what the scope of the project's gonna be, right? What's gonna be done. There's been a couple of things talked around, right? So you really need to decide which one's gonna be used, and secondly, what the cost of that's gonna be, right? And then you can really make a decision. But I don't know how much money that project's gonna be, none of us do, so.
It's not gonna be cheap.
And I noticed in this contract, there also stipulates, they want a person from the town to represent the sewer commission, I guess. And that person ought to be involved in, working with, us when they find out and know what the best avenue is to tie into the system, so.
The point is, what system do we tie in?
Right,
That's the problem. All right,
Yeah.
we don't know if it's a Wheaton College, town, we don't know.
Well, I would like to back up just another step and say, in theory, we know we're gonna have to connect somewhere.
Somewhere.
And probably it's going to be a pump station.
Yep.
My concern is, how is this going to be financed? And we know that it's not in the
Scope of the work.
scope of the original construction appropriation. We do not know the balance remaining in that fund that we had to begin with. And I don't think it's prudent for the building committee at this time to delve into this contract until we know we have the money there to approve it, unless it is going to become a municipal project and funded through other funds.
How do you go
Dinah?
about finding out
Yes,
where
Mike?
you go?
I just want to clarify a couple things. One, since the beginning, because of all the disruption that's going to be done, it was always planned to be a municipal sewer for all the buildings.
Right.
And it was always planned that we're doing a pump station.
No, I realize that. I'm down to who's paying for it. What pot are you proposing that this contract come out of?
And how much was.
Or are you going to take it to town meeting in the spring and get funding for this project? Do you see where I'm going?
Yep.
Because the original appropriation back in 2017 was for construction of the senior center. That's what the money was put aside for the feasibility study.
Right.
And the remainder was going to be used for the town hall. And this is a municipal project for all 4 departments. And so I'm just coming at it from the very practical, I know we have to do it, we're gonna have to do it, but where's the money coming from? And as soon as we have a funding source, then I think the building committee can get behind it.
Madam Chair,
Bob?
I don't know, but is there any funding from the state for,
That I don't know.
a
Like,
grant or something? I don't know.
Mike, a project like that, up top of your head, how much you figure?
I'm a little afraid to hazard that guess, but what I would say is that.
I'm carving it in stone.
Yes, thank you. But as part of the study, we included costs for basically gravity down to a
Okay.
pump station and then pumping up to East Main Street.
Okay.
And, removing the existing
Yeah.
on-site septic, all that was included in the budget that was created. So, yeah.
So
And so we can go back and look at the numbers carried and
maybe there's
assess
money-
that.
Maybe there's money in there for that.
There is money in there. The question becomes one of distance, right?
Right.
It's like when you start pumping further and further away, that's when you start to get beyond the scope of what was included.
Okay.
And you're going further away for the connections,
We're
Yeah.
talking.
Right.
need
actually-
larger pumps.
Yep.
No, I understand
Yeah,
that.
we
I'm
just for clarity, we included cost in our engineering cost to design that pump station to do that.
good.
But again, only to go so far.
Yeah, right. No, we talked about going to Wheaton.
Across the
going
street,
Across the street,
yeah.
originally.
So maybe we let us do a little more,
Homework,
let us
yeah.
go back and
Real research.
remind the committee of what we included for costs and.
Okay.
But this, right now, I believe Mike Unit said the cost was $38,000 to look into the proposal.
We did not include in our budget a cost for a study such as this.
Correct. And my question is, if the town wants to do this study, where is the money coming from?
Understood.
And, Mark?
There's also, this is just the study, there's also a final design that needs to
Yes.
be funded as well,
So, you know, where's,
Plus the construction.
plus the construction.
right, and if the construction is in, as Mike Viveras was saying, somehow in the construction phase of this, but we just don't know the exact scope and length of it. But, you know, my question right now is, where is this money coming from?
For the study.
38,000.
The 38,000?
James said he'd have to check, but right now he believes there's like $1 million left in that account.
Well, I think we need a firm number, and as I said, Mr. Badeiros and I have been asking for a couple of weeks.
I'd like to see a breakdown.
Yeah, a breakdown of what's there.
Where the money went.
Is there a way to approve it with the understanding that it would come out of this fund in order to move the question
We
forward?
don't know if it's going to come out of
No,
this
but
fund.
on that basis, could it be approved on that basis? The only thing what is very important is no matter what the solution is, time becomes a real factor. The time to do the study, as that's necessary, and then all the permitting and other things. And so, you know, relative to the overall schedule of the project and the desire to, you know, put bid documents out the end of the year or so, this work is absolutely critical to getting a building permit and moving things forward. So if it's, you know, understood, yeah.
I understand that, and I also realize that I'm cranky because I'm not feeling well.
It's okay.
James said he gave you that information not too long ago, and nothing's been spent out of that account since he gave you that
He
information.
gave me that information 6 months ago, and we've been asking for it again, and I haven't gotten it from him.
We haven't
And I
spent
know he's
anything
been,
else.
I know he's been
We have-
busy.
We haven't spent anything else out of that account.
Okay, could he please send me an update? I don't care if it's the same page again, I just like it. However,
Okay.
I'm going to, I agree with what you're saying,
Yeah.
Mr. Viveras,
Yeah.
and I understand that this has to go on. I just don't believe the building committee should be in the habit of approving a contract based on the money will be found later. That's not, in my experience, good municipal appropriation. I need to know where the money's coming from, how much is gonna be in the billing, what account it's gonna be coming from. And then personally, I think the building committee that should then entertain it. But I don't think we should be viewed as a blank check just to say, okay, oh yeah, it's good for the project, let's do it.
We've got a meeting
Are we-
coming up shortly.
Are we talking about the money for the study?
Yes.
38,000.
38,000.
And there's $1 million in the account.
We know of.
That we know of.
Right.
Can we use that money, Mike?
Yes.
Jim?
I'm not opposed, and I know where you're coming from, even though it's involving 4 departments in the town, or 4 buildings, or,
Yeah, whatever.
we have a quarter interest in this study. And I know where you're coming from, but the other thing that bothers me is we're almost a year into passing the budget, and we don't have shovel in the ground anywhere. And the townspeople, every time I go someplace, they're asking, and if this delays it another 6 months,
Costs are gonna
because
go
we're quibbling about where $38,000 is coming from, or $50,000 if it goes over budget. I mean, the money is there in that account. It may not be $1 million, it may be $750,000, but it's probably not less than $500,000. So let's just have the study done.
It has to be
Get
done
it out of the way so we can move on. I mean, we've got to get it just irks me no end that people are building buildings all over town and they get them done in a year, and we're a year and we haven't done anything. This Cumberland Farms across the street will be built by next December, and we'll still be worrying about where money's coming from.
Well, if I might,
Go ahead.
I feel very strongly that we should know where the money's coming from. We are spending taxpayers' dollars one way or the other. And I think committees had a good time to review this contract, but I think if the town wants us to approve spending $38,000 from X account, they need to come to this committee and say, we would like to appropriate blank from blank in order to accomplish this. And right now, all we have is a contract, which I agree is a good contract, and as I said, we need to do it. But I don't think we need to just approve spending $38,000 on the taxpayers' money without the appropriate documentation.
Madam Chair, I agree with what you just said, but I think we need to put
What
it,
documentation do you need?
I'd like you've sent us the contract, I'd at least like, a cover letter that says, we would really love for you, the committee, to approve this contract, and we'd like to take the $38,000 out of this account, and upon approval by the building committee, the contract will be executed. And I don't mean to be cranky, but I am.
I'm just gonna say that, what you just said.
Is that something you can just put together quickly,
Email.
Mike, and we can meet?
Next meeting.
We can
I
meet.
mean, we
well,
can
don't even have to wait
call a meeting.
We don't even have to wait a month.
No.
Email it to me now, Mike.
I can do that, I'm just a little confused because you are the building committee and I gave you the contract to get the approval of the building committee to approve the contract.
But there wasn't a dollar figure attached to it.
38,000 is in the contract.
Okay,
Say
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, it is contained
Page
in the
3.
okay,
proposal.
again, I go back, from what account?
From that account with the $1 million in it.
Do you have the account number?
I don't have it on the top of my head.
Okay.
It's that same one James gave you 6 months ago.
I will entertain the pleasure of the building committee.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract that has been presented by the town manager to us with, I couldn't find a figure in it, but I didn't read it
It was
over 3
$38,000.
times.
That's
For
in there.
$38,000.
That's right here.
I'd like to know where it's coming from.
It's
Well, first of
Article
all-
5.1.
Do we have a second?
He's just giving,
Excuse me, I need a second for discussion.
Make a second.
Okay, thank you, we have a motion and a second.
Want to give us that, whatever
Counted.
account number you did? Somebody gave us some numbers while we were all talking. Okay,
No, I don't think he had it.
I just, it's Steve Kirby. I just said that the 38,000 was in Article 5.1 of Weston and Sampson's proposal.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Yeah,
It's a not to exceed
yeah,
amount.
yeah.
Mark?
Can Mike just send the committee
An email.
an email,
Well-
a quick cover letter to the contract, and we can meet next Tuesday?
gotta get 7 days for a notice, it's Tuesday.
2 days. You're
Can
getting
you do
48
that, Mike?
hours. 48 hours.
Okay, I don't know.
We could meet, what's today, Tuesday? We can meet Friday.
I'll be out of town, what, you don't need me?
Mike, can you do that? Can you hear the discussion?
Yes.
Okay. So if we held a special meeting to approve this on Friday, would that work?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be long. You don't need to come.
A phone call would be enough.
Well, I think we just need to meet
Yeah, we have to meet.
Friday, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's fine.
Here? You around?
We could-
COA?
We can do a
Mike, I
Zoom.
can see that.
Can we do a
Can you
Zoom?
do a Zoom?
Oh, we can do a Zoom.
I
Yeah,
don't
we
want
can.
to hear
Need it,
honest.
Mike's.
Oh, we can do a Zoom.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
come back
I'm not
from
here to
Send
Delaware.
it by Friday night for some official clips.
Let's
Can you
do
get
a
a Zoom set
Zoom.
up that quick?
Oh, you know me,
Yeah.
my Zooms, right? If it comes through, my vote is yes, all right? But I won't Zoom.
So Mike, is that okay?
I hate Zoom.
That's okay. You want me to share the account with you right now?
Yes, please.
Oh,
I'm hopefully with my wife, so right.
Is my screen still showing the,
Yes, yes.
Yes.
May I turn around? I don't see,
Yeah, his screen, you see it right there.
we see Mike.
I see Mike, I don't see an account number
No, it's
anywhere.
Thought the sewer commissioner.
He's getting it.
Well, What's that?
I'm still looking at the sewer connection.
The
Yep.
school commission, you shouldn't-
You don't want to get involved with them.
Hold on.
Yep.
3 times over.
Which I just want an account number
Yeah, that
with a
amount.
dollar amount to be taken
That's it.
from it, and that's what we vote.
Yeah, well,
This
he
is gonna be
gives us,
Friday.
well, no, if he gives us account number, we'll
Here
do
you
it
go,
now.
Yeah.
he's gonna do it now.
The longer we wait, the longer it goes.
Okay,
Count what?
You all want to get it done.
I don't know.
You're all set.
This is the,
I'm not seeing the account number.
My board's not happy.
Boy,
No. You bored?
You were there.
I know. But we'll talk.
Why aren't they happy?
We'll talk. During this meeting?
I'm gonna talk, yeah, when they bring it up.
you know,
Yeah, I don't have the account number on it. I'll get you that.
Okay,
But that shows the funds?
this is the, that's the town hall.
Once we get this thing over, it's about.
Okay, so back to the Friday plan?
yep, so we're back to the Friday plan. If we could have an account number from which to take the 38,000. But right now, I have a motion on the floor to approve it. Is there any other discussion?
Nope.
Seeing none, all in favor of approving the appropriation of $38,000 for WNS sewer study proposal? Raise your hands.
You're not?
I go along with it, but I want to know where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just do
Well,
it
Mike
Friday.
said it's coming from that account,
But
but
if-
we need to
if
see
the money
it.
comes through, and he tells us where it's coming, then I'll go, yes.
Yeah, but right now, we're just appropriating $38,000 from the ether.
Okay.
Is there a name for the account?
From the what?
Is there a
From the
number?
ether. We don't know where it's coming from.
Well, we have to go what Mike says. I believe Mike's not gonna say something that's not true. So we'll have to go and see it.
I'll go along with the vote yes on the 38,000,
Providing it's coming out of that.
providing it's coming out of that account.
And
Yeah, we just want the account number, that's
Yeah.
it.
Thank you. If we get
Yeah.
the account number, then I'm happy.
Okay.
I think that's
Does
the key.
that do it?
Yep.
Okay, we have 3 in favor. Anybody opposed? I want it all locked up before I vote for it.
Well, I think Bob's opposed, he wants the account number as well.
I like the account number, I like to know where it's coming from.
So you want to wait till the account number?
Just-
I'm all for the 38,000.
Can we wait till Friday?
But where's it coming from? Is it coming out of my back pocket? I don't know. I want to know where it's coming
He's
from.
opposed.
We've been asking for money for I don't know how long, what this money is.
And we don't know
And
how
I
much,
still don't know where it is.
and how much.
I don't know how much is in here.
Okay, so we have 2 in favor, and we have
Two.
3 opposed.
Okay.
Yep.
So we will adjourn, the motion fails. Would like to move that we reconsider it on Friday when we have the account number that the money's coming from.
That's fine.
So we can vote a complete vote. And Mark, do you mind setting up a Zoom meeting? I know. I'm sorry.
Well, 2 of us won't be there, so
Who else will be there?
I'll be in Delaware.
Who else? He'll do it.
I'll
Yeah.
do it, but I hate it, you know.
That's
that.
all right, you'll do it.
It's
If it was
important.
all Zoom meetings, I wouldn't be
It'll
here.
take 5 minutes.
You do it on the phone. You can do it a
I
Zoom
want
on the
to
phone.
sit. Time for my fish and chips.
You can phone in, Jim.
Yeah, you can on the phone. You call the number on the phone.
Okay.
I could do that. Or I could call Diner and say I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I can do that too.
Yeah, you can give me your proxy vote.
Okay, I can do that. All right.
Jim, you can
That
give me your
works.
proxy vote.
Take an email, can you?
Mm-hmm. Check an email.
That's even better.
Okay. So hopefully we will have this locked up by Friday. And again, I don't mean to be a stickler. I just like to know exactly where money's coming from. Actually, I did mean to be a stickler, so what the hell. The next item on the agenda, Mr. Viveras.
Thank you. Would you maybe just go forward once? And I think as Dinah touched on earlier, we've met with the CoA subcommittee a number of times, going through, starting with the plan that had been prepared as part of the study. We made improvements, met with the committee, heard comments, updated our plans. met with the committee again, heard further comments, and we've made, this is the design process, and it's, we continue to go. Oh, what happened there?
You got town hall.
Tom,
Let's see, we'll be in first.
there we go. Oop. No, town hall, yeah.
There's the COA.
There we go. There we go. Oop.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah,
Back.
so I think you're all quite familiar with the site. There's
Yep.
probably no reason to go through the site again, but here we go. And this is the site plan. This site plan is very much from, more or less, was part of the 2020 study. We just want to remind you that the building on Mansfield Ave set back a little bit. We're actually in the process of, the survey is almost done, the existing conditions survey. So we'll have that, let me just look here, we're gonna have that very soon. Beginning of April, says Ed, thank you very much. And we're working on a few different options for the site plan, looking at different ways to accommodate parking, but that'll be part of our next meeting with all of you to review the site options. But the building, regardless of site, is pretty much as what you're seeing here. This is our most recent plan, and I'm just going to walk you through everything. As you can see at the bottom of the page, there's a drop-off area, which would basically allow people to drop people off right at the front of the building at the curb. There's a porch, so that people can, as they're getting out of the vehicle, they can be, under a roof and out of the snow and rain. Go ahead, Jim.
Is there any way you can tell us what you changed?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of changes. I mean, honestly, it looks the same, but if you really get into the little pieces, there's a it's a process of little changes and tweaks and,
I got a lot of good changes you made.
no, it's really coming along, and so, we focus on little things. I'll just walk you into the front vestibule. Unfortunately, a pointer doesn't work on videos like this, but so you can see you come into the vestibule. There's going to be a single door, 40 inches wide. That door will be on an automatic opener, so as you approach the building, the door will open. We'll go into a vestibule. There's a second door, similar wide door, so people could, in wheelchairs and the like, can comfortably come into the building. Within the vestibule, that you can see to the right, there's a bench so that people can wait if the weather is bad and they're waiting for someone to pick them up. If the weather's good, they can wait outside on a bench under the porch. Coming into the building, and just to the right is basically the administration part of the building. There's going to be a little computer. There's going to be an area for computer check-in just to the right. So as people are coming in, they're going to check in there and be caught really before they come too far into the building. There's a counter for staff, and over to the right you can see there's a place for information and brochures, that will be available to all the visitors. Coming into the building to the left is a small, we call it a cafe. We're showing that it would have a, electric or gas fireplace, if you will, bookshelves to either side, seating still to be discussed, but, an arrangement of seating, a kind of a table that could be at kind of bar height perhaps, or not, or just a standard height table. Huh?
No bar height.
No bar height, too high, yeah. And then as you come straight in, there's a bit of a lobby, as you can see, and then 3 sets of double doors. Those double doors can, daily could be left in the open position, so there's just a kind of a flow of visual space and space, from the lobby into the multipurpose room. Clearly, if the multipurpose room is being used for an exact function, the doors can be closed, and you really would, at that point, really just rely on the center set of doors. Those doors as well would be 40 inches, each single door would be 40 inches, so the doors are going to be very comfortable to come through. The multi-purpose room is set up for, what we're showing here is a configuration of tables and chairs that could accommodate up to 65 in the arrangement that you see. Within the room to the left, you can see just a little bit of a bump out. That's a 150 square foot storage room on the left. You can see just a little bump out on the wall. That's really intended to be a large video display within the room, you know, to accommodate presentations or all the multiple things that can be happening in the room. On the right, there's a kitchen that's designed to be sort of semi-commercial, if you will. It would have, you know, they would have a hood and would be, you know, have a stainless steel 3-bay sink and really, and be, like I said, a sort of semi-commercial kitchen, if you will. We envision, you know, kind of glass at the end of the room, looking into a covered porch area that you can see at the top of the page. And please slow me down if I'm going too fast or getting too detailed for that matter. So, you know, some of the changes that we've made is to try to make the building we've eliminated corridor over time. Jim was asking what are some of the changes. Some of it was getting the building to be more efficient by eliminating corridors, getting it so that there's good visual, good line of sight, sort of directly down the corridor in both ways, so that, you know, from the admin counter, if you will, that there's just a good visual of the entire facility. You know, you can't see every nook and cranny, but you will get a good look from one spot of all that's happening within the building. We've located, I'm just going to go back to the lobby. If you go left into the plan, you'll see the restrooms are, you know, the men's and women's room to the left. There's a restroom. You can see 78 square foot handicap accessible restroom. That's really intended to be a companion restroom. It would have a small shower. Next to that is a custodial closet, you know, that serves the entire facility. And then going further down the corridor, you know, you can see there's an activity space at the top of the page, a program space, arts and crafts, and wellness. Now, these are each programs that were the entire program, for that matter, was determined as part of the 2018 study, and that's very much what we're following in this case. And what we do is we're really seeking to just, you know, work out the floor plan, work closely with staff to understand what are the requirements in each of these spaces. We met the other day, talked about what would happen in wellness, for example, and you can see we've laid out chair yoga for 22 people within wellness. We've you know, created space for different storage spaces for what happens within that space. We've actually, you can see that we've included a double door connecting wellness and arts and crafts, so that, you know, if you wanted to have a larger function, you know, the two spaces could work together to accommodate a larger function. I'm just going to step back a little bit. The earlier plans that were developed for the project had one large single divider wall that separated the multipurpose room potentially into two parts. As you can see in this plan, that wall has been removed with the idea that we created connection from the activity space to the multipurpose space. So in all the prior plans, there was no connection between the two, you know, kind of larger spaces. But in this plan, we've created a way so that activity and multipurpose could work to support one function. You know, they're internally connected. You don't have to go back out to the corridor.
Oh, thank you.
And part of the reason for removing, you know, for eliminating the center partition has to do that we can make a much nicer room when there's not this wall dividing the middle. And it's actually, if you think about where you want to look when you look at a room, you know, you're looking at a wall all the time. As you look outside, you're looking at the wall if you have this large divider wall. And it impacts the lighting, it impacts the whole way that the room gets arranged. And so we think that by creating flexibility in these other ways, you know, by connecting wellness with arts and crafts and connecting activity and multipurpose, that it gives you a lot of flexibility without relying on this divider wall, which really impacts the architecture of the space. And we think we can make, frankly, much nicer space, and also save money, because the walls are very expensive. And as I mentioned, they impact not just the wall. There's a big steel beam that needs to be used to support the wall, and then it impacts the lighting and all the systems within the space. So that's the suggesting in this plan, is to not have the large wall. End of the card, I'm just going to continue down to on the left side of the plan. You can see we've got the pantry there, which has always been at this end. We've kind of flipped things around a little bit from the earlier plan, where now there's a drive-up window that wasn't part of the program earlier, but because of some of the meal plan
Grab and go.
that's now offered as part of the COA, there's going to be certain set hours every day where people can come and pick up a small meal, and they're going to be able to do that at the drive-up window. There's a bit of a porch on the back, and that porch is going to support deliveries and other things that happen that support the use of that support the pantry itself. If you remember, in the earlier plans, we had an overhanging roof at the end, and so the tractor trailers could come and sort of, and then also so that people could potentially drive up and things could be loaded into the trunk of their car. Our understanding is that is no longer happening, and that people are going to be more coming into the building, and also the way that they're receiving items is going to be different in the future than it's been in the past. Now they're actually going to have to go and pick up these items, and they're probably going to do it in a large straight body truck and not a giant, deliveries aren't going to be coming via a giant tractor trailer. And yeah, so I think that gives you a good overview of things, and I can walk you through the administration wing perhaps, but that really hasn't changed much. The rooms we've kind of changed locations, but really, the function is really the same as it's always been. There's a small space for the nurse, there's a conference room that largely will serve administration, but could also be used otherwise. It has access from two sides. There's medical equipment storage, and then there's a number of offices and a copy space.
Madam Chair, I had a couple of questions for Mike.
Yes, Bob.
We met with the COA board this week and went over the new plan here with them. And they had some concern, they had some ideas that they'd like to see put in place. And I just want to point to a couple of them that they wanted. One would be, we talked about how many people in the multi-purpose room, right? And we were hoping to have more than 100 people. And so what we're wondering about, could we take this here and put it over here and have a wall, that wall here. So now you could open this up, right? And you could have a whole area that would be like one. And I thought that was a good idea because that gives you the ability to have a good group function there.
Yeah.
So that's,
You want to put a wall where?
instead of, he had the multi-purpose room with
Yeah.
a wall before,
Yeah.
okay? So their concern was they were hoping to have room for more people. We do a function that has 120, 130 people, okay?
At
So-
tables.
At tables.
Uh-huh.
And so what we were thinking about is, they were thinking about, is if we could take that wall and put this storage room over this side, okay? And put that wall in, I don't know if you put it in here or put it over here, right? So that if you did have a function and you wanted to open it up,
Yeah.
you could fold that wall back,
Yeah.
and now you have a nice,
Yeah.
big area.
Yeah, what comes to mind, relative to that?
Yep.
Is not impossible if we can relocate these two items, which I don't think is impossible.
Yeah.
We might be able to put this over here, and then,
But what would you do here? You'd lose these places, right?
well, I've got to put them someplace else, but yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it's workable to do something like that,
Well,
right?
we certainly could look at it.
Yeah.
The real question is, what kinds of things are in the activity space that are gonna be difficult to move?
Right, we'd have to position them in a certain way.
Right, because you're not
The-
gonna
the
get
spa-
the whole,
Right,
Yeah.
the space is an issue. We have an event coming up next week, and it's we're maxed out, we're at 60 people now, we're maxed out, we have a waiting list. And we're still projecting population growth.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing wait lists now,
Yeah,
six more people,
yeah.
it's just a little bit of a concern.
Okay, we had other committee Jim, and then Bob.
Oh, Bob had
So you
a couple
don't-
other things.
I have a couple more things, if you don't
Yeah, yeah,
mind.
go
If you
ahead,
don't
please.
mind.
No,
please.
just one
No, it's good
second,
to-
1 second. Did you have a question about this
Yeah, the
topic?
wall that you wanna put between the yellow wall and the blue wall, the folding wall you're talking about.
Yeah,
That wall's about $30,000.
That's right.
We're working on a limited budget now, remember? We've only got so much money to work with.
but we had it in there, Bob, before. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
in the budget, it was in the budget before, and, you know, it was
Yeah.
removed, and I understand why, and I agree that it's a
Yeah.
lot better without the wall.
Let me ask you this then. You know what you did with the yellow and blue room, you put a door in there, a big door?
Yeah.
Why can't you do that at the
Yeah.
same thing?
What's most helpful to us is you tell us your needs and your goals, and let us try to figure out how to accommodate them if we can.
Right, but I'm thinking-
You know,
Between, you see how you got the blue and yellow door, there's a door in between?
Yeah.
Here, come to the left. Down, way
Yeah.
down, come
Yeah.
down.
Down,
Arts and crafts.
Arts and craft, come down,
the arts and craft,
yep,
Yeah, the
right here,
yep, all right. Now you see the opening there?
yeah?
Why can't you do that up there? Have a big door.
yeah, I think there are a few things.
Maybe bigger than a
If I could, I think there are a few things we
Yeah,
can
instead of
consider.
running that
You know,
folding door.
we can see if there's a way to locate these somewhere else, and there might not be. One thing would be to make the storage room smaller, which would then allow us to make an opening that's larger, and it could be
Glass doors.
glass or big double doors, or there are other options, so that we can create greater connectivity between the two spaces. I think the point is, though, if you're having a large function, you know, you want people to feel like they're all part of the function, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, you know, let us
Look at it
see
and
what we
see.
can do. Yeah, you know, relative to budget, one thing that we are trying to do is, as we've mentioned, costs have
Right.
exceeded anyone's expectations over the last year or so.
Mike,
Right.
And so we are trying to find ways, but honestly, I think the best thing is, let us study it. I think
Go
that
back
I
and
see
look.
some possibilities, and then we see where it leads, you know?
I would just be concerned,
On that, let me get up there.
Go ahead.
yeah, no, I would say, I would just be concerned, once you start
Mickey Mouse in it.
nipping into storage,
Mm-hmm.
because that's one of the
Yeah.
things usually when people open a building,
Yes, you
they've
don't have enough of.
they've concentrated so much on the public spaces that all of a
see
sudden
this
they
wall
have
here?
no storage.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah,
Put the wall here, end it here. This is wide open through here. In other words, a smaller wall here,
Yeah.
a smaller wall here,
Yeah,
this is wide
and the
open.
middle is open.
And you can move this somewhere else, which is all open, without spending a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
That make sense?
yeah,
Make sense?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather see it all
tour
over.
with the video.
Well, the little wall's not gonna hurt.
Okay, Bob?
Well, they were disappointed. Couple other things that they wanted to think about.
One thing we also want to do, just to be clear, is we want to size the storage room so it can accommodate the chairs and the tables. And so what we'll do is we'll come back with a plan that shows the chairs on carts and shows the kind of space it takes to accommodate that.
That's good.
Yep.
The other concern that they had was when other people are using the facility, other groups, and they may be using that multi-purpose room. And we want to make sure that the other parts of the facility are secured, right?
Yep.
So thinking about, they wanted to take and have a door that you could put across here to close this section out.
Yeah.
So to get the bathrooms, but they're just limited to this front part.
Yep.
And do the same thing on this side right here.
Yeah. To be honest with you, we've had doors in those locations. And,
Yes.
And, you know,
them out.
we've taken them out, and not because of cost, although that's certainly a factor, but largely because we think that the facility will be nicer and more open day to day without the doors.
Right.
And so one question becomes, keep in mind, all the rooms are locked. So they're not, if they're using the facility at night, we've got to get them to the restrooms, which
Yes,
if you had a door
absolutely.
here,
Yep,
you
yep.
could. But even if they get to here and here, there's not much there's not much they're going to be able to
Yeah,
do.
the doors are locked.
You know, the doors are locked, yeah. And no
doors to the
matter
rooms.
what, just to be
The
clear,
doors to the rooms are
one
all-
problem
Yeah.
is that I need to maintain 2 means of egress out of the
Okay,
corridor.
yeah.
And they're dead end, so if I close off this side, I need to keep this side open.
Right, I get you.
And if I close this side off, I'm gonna need to keep this side open.
Right.
So only,
makes sense.
at most, only one side can really be closed off.
Okay.
But I do like that when you're here, seated here, if
Could
you're
see.
staff, you can look down here and see, and it's just a good wide open view.
I was thinking, they were thinking like at nighttime if there's someone using the.
Yeah,
That's what they're
which we,
thinking
well,
about.
like I said, we've actually, because these are comments that we've heard, you know,
Yeah.
going back, and so the point is well
Okay.
taken, you know, and
Well,
we've
you're
drawn
right.
them a few times, and we've taken them away a few times, you know, only because we think it, again, that we can secure this area, you know, and,
Without them.
without them, yeah. Okay, that's why this door is here, for example, because generally we wouldn't have this door either. This would just look right in
Yep.
to the admin wing, but this is here to, so that, you know, the things are secured. If someone wants to cause trouble, I mean, I guess that's, you know,
You gotta
they're
do
probably
it.
gonna do that anyhow, you know? Yeah.
One other question that was asked, and I told them I didn't know, but coming into the facility,
Yep.
dropping people off, picking people up.
Yep.
Is this gonna be a one-way? In other words, when you come in here to pick people up or drop them off, it's gonna
Yeah.
be one way going across?
Probably not, although it's one of the things that we also have, we've discussed this as well. And the plans that you've seen so far have a lot of the parking in front. We haven't,
Handicap, but you still could have that.
well, the plans that you've seen so far, the site plans, have a lot of the parking in the front of the building and, you know, quite a bit on the side as well, right? We have a plan that we're working on now that tries to reduce the parking in the front a little bit in order to create more green space in the front so that when you're seeing the building from the public way, that you're seeing more green, less cars, and then you're seeing the building. And so the answer to your question is impacted by which option gets selected, because if the plan stayed as it is now,
Yep.
with quite a bit of parking in front, it's very possible to make it one way. If we do the other option, it's a little more complicated, although we're trying to think of a way to create maybe a bit of a drive lane underneath, but it creates more pavement and more cost, so.
You have to keep don't you have to keep a fire lane in there? too?
Actually, if I click to the site plan, this conversation might be more useful. So you
Bob,
can,
was the discussion, they
Yeah.
want it one way or they don't?
Yeah, they thought it'd be better one way, less activity there, and it's all going one way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that was kind of.
so you can see that in this way,
Okay,
it could
yeah.
likely be one way, right? Because there's a way around. And if you're, you know, one of the things that we've discussed is that if someone needs to be picked up, you know, they're with their significant other or with friends, whatever the case might be, and someone wants to get the car and pick them up, we want to make sure that they can get there without too much trouble. So if this drive lane wasn't here and this was more green space,
Yeah.
they've got to be able to come this way, spin around, and pick someone up at the curb, right? Because we don't want them going out to Mansfield in order to do that. The traffic is too fast, you know? So when we come back, what you're going to see is two plans that sort of study
Makes sense.
these
Yeah.
issues,
Yep.
you know?
I didn't realize that you had that
Yeah.
in front, plus if you cut that off with greens.
Then you
they
can't
got-
come around,
Right.
you
You
know?
can't come around.
Yeah, although we talked about building a small one-way lane here, but it starts to
Yeah.
defeat it in a way. So what we were gonna do is maybe look at a way to make sure, there's trade-offs, and we're gonna have to decide what the right trade-offs are for your project.
Okay.
You'll decide. We'll present them and you'll decide.
Mike, is there
Yeah.
room for a garage here?
Eventually,
And pickleball courts.
Up further back?
Further back of the,
I think there's site space
Yeah.
for
That's all I
that,
wanna
yeah.
know.
mhm.
Yeah, we'll fight about the garage.
In the pickleball courts.
Yeah, we will need to be a little cautious.
Money,
'cause
money, money,
when you-
money, money.
When you come back, you're gonna see an idea about the wetlands and what the setbacks are. And what you're gonna see is, when you start to get too far beyond the page, where we are above the building,
100
you
feet.
start to get into setbacks,
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
So I think that it adds challenges.
Yeah, conservation.
Well, it adds challenges, yeah.
I want to ask Beth a question. Beth, did we cover everything that they were concerned about?
Yep, I believe we did.
Yeah, so try to come up with a way to get more people into the room, if we can.
And be open too, that was the thing. And it
Yeah.
made sense to me, being open,
Yeah.
because you could open it up and.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the divider wall in the middle wasn't really gonna help.
No, that,
This
Wouldn't have
issue,
helped anyways,
that's
no,
this is a whole
no.
nother, we
Right.
just need to get more people in one
Right.
place.
To feel like
Yeah.
they're
Part of the-
Yeah.
if there's entertainers, at least so
Yeah.
they can period. And-
Yeah,
You shot that wall, that shot that wall.
I mean, we're doing big events monthly, pretty much.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
The
know,
only-
it's Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, it's,
The only concern that I would have when you look at it to open it up, whatever storage space you take away,
Oh,
please,
yeah.
please put someplace else.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
serious.
No,
'cause
no, I
that's-
totally get
That's
it.
what you
Right, you
walk
have to-
in and go, oh my
Yeah.
word, we forgot.
Yeah.
I
We've
know,
taken
and-
care of the public,
Yeah.
but we have not taken care
No, I know,
of.
then you get
We-
chairs that in your
That's
view
right.
like we have here, which is a nightmare.
One thing we would like to discuss with you is the option for maybe a few workstations in lieu of offices.
A few what?
Workstation or.
How many need to be private, in other words, you know, because we could pick up some efficiency potentially if we could have, you know,
Yeah.
a few, 2 workstations versus 2 offices, if that's possible. You know, it would allow us to pick up a little bit of space, you know.
I can just
That's
comment
possible.
on that philosophy type of workspaces is it's, if there's a lot of conversation, it's not private, so.
Yeah,
We do
which
a lot-
is why
do-
we have,
do a
that's
lot
why you
of
have
Yeah,
offices,
yeah.
So
yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
shine needs it, I
Yeah.
mean, Kathy
Yeah.
Barnum would need it,
Yeah.
I would need it.
Yeah, it's a question,
I
it's
mean,
not a statement.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the nurse's spot that you
Yeah,
have
it's-
right there.
So you're pretty well satisfied with they've discussed it, with the exception of storage?
Yeah,
We'll try to get a little more open, yeah.
yeah, that'd be good.
All right, because I find that no matter how you do it, you can't satisfy everybody.
No, you're right,
All right?
but what they've said made sense to me too, you know what I mean?
If we get this thing finally done, this is
Yeah.
it's gonna be, then I get it done.
Yep.
Time's going by.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like to see it done before my time.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, we really,
Yeah.
I don't think we could lose any of the offices.
Okay.
I'm really,
Yeah, you're tight for that too.
let's see. And then we have the, no, that was,
Could the conference room, can it be made smaller and larger conferences be accommodated in one of the activity spaces or in one of the other spaces?
In my
Is that-
list, that's what.
You
I
know,
was
could that
gonna
happen?
suggest.
Could we have a more conference room for 6?
I mean, you
the
have,
thought I had about the conference room, it also could double as like waiting room, you know?
Waiting
There-
for,
People who are either waiting for an appointment or people who bring their children with them for appointments, they need a space to sit in
Private.
color. I just,
yeah,
Cafe wouldn't work.
cafe is there. It's-
Yes,
It's not private, but it's,
I'm just saying
it's a waiting
it's
area.
That would be a great waiting area for people who had like shine up, I'm just thinking of the families that
Yeah.
come in with their children. We usually, you know, set them up with coloring books and crayons and they have a space right near mom, but not in the same room where they can.
Yeah, and I'm seeing the conference room as your boardroom, you know, where your board would
Right,
have their meetings.
right.
yeah,
Which needs to be in that administrative section.
Not necessarily. Why would it have to be in, I mean, you've got 5 activity rooms where normally there aren't 5 activities going on at the same time,
They will
that
be.
you could use one of the activity rooms as a conference room.
for a large conference room. Yeah, you have a small conference room for
But what do you
day-to-day.
need a small, if we're screaming for space, why do we need a conference room at all if we have 5 other rooms that all 5 are not gonna be used at the same time? I mean, I don't think there's anybody in this room that thinks all 5 rooms are gonna be used all the time.
And I,
That's the same.
and
I
I will,
like the
I will
idea-
respectfully disagree with you, having built a senior citizen center.
yeah.
All 5 rooms of those are gonna be busy. You're
Yeah,
gonna
that's-
see
You're
demand for
telling me
services.
that you're gonna have
Absolutely.
More people.
400
When are the board
seniors
meetings?
in this building at one time.
You very well could.
During the
I
day,
can see an
Not in my
arts,
lifetime.
I can see an arts and crafts going, I can see a fitness center
We'll see what it's
going.
like, see what it's like tomorrow.
We have
She's doing-
activities
yeah.
with the VFW.
See what it's like
She's
tomorrow.
She's doing it
stuff
now.
over there and here at the same time. We're doing it.
And I'm just thinking, you know, the boardroom is there, you know, so that you don't have to displace people and,
In that I
It's
just won
also,
the
it's
floor.
also, it's
In
also,
that I just won the floor.
yes, you did, go
Go
right
ahead.
ahead.
The first thing I was opposed to
Go ahead.
is this storage room, because we were looking for a large room.
Yeah.
And Bob's poo-pooed the $30,000 moving wall, so, but why, I'm not a builder, I never claimed to be one, but to me, this costs money. Why not go straight across and put your storage here? Other than losing
It's
windows.
really not that. It has to do with roofs and
Roof
getting,
building.
dealing
Okay,
with water
fine.
and, yeah, yeah.
But this seems like an awful lot of storage, although you do have to put up.
A lot of
It
stuff,
takes
a lot of
lot.
stuff.
It
Yeah,
takes a lot.
you have to put
Yeah.
up the tables
Yeah.
and stuff. And he's still opposed to a moving wall, so I'm not gonna go there. The 5 rooms, I'm opposed to this conference room because, as far as I'm concerned, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms, and I don't think in my lifetime you're gonna put 300 people in this building at one time. I don't care if you're giving away $1,000 bills, but
Can I say something about the conference room? We also have a lot of family meetings here where it's more than just 1 or 2 people who are meeting.
Yeah.
It's families.
You know, we have
You need a
caregivers
conference
and their,
room.
and their parents, you know, where we may have,
Or
where
5
we may be
people.
sitting down with 4 or 5 people talking about confidential, you know,
No, I think your
Yeah, you
conference
have a
room
conference room.
at your disposal is, you know,
Yeah.
the question
Okay,
is, do
you
we have
shut
the
that
size
down.
right? That's
So-
what I'm really trying to get at.
moving along, I have down double doors, and I don't know what the heck that was all about. Most senior centers, and even this one, has trouble with presenters. There's no accommodation here for a stage or a rise up or something else.
Stages
Take up
present problems
Take up room.
because
They need to be accessible.
they need to be accessible. Why don't you try to make them accessible? It takes
Okay.
up so much space.
I'll accept
Yeah,
that.
and honestly, I think the room is small enough that I think
Right.
that it's
Because-
okay to be flat floor.
And I'm opposed to a drive-up window, and all you elderly people can send your emails wherever you want, because they have to drive up to the window. And how many people have distance problem? You're talking about they want a one-way here, and it's wide enough. Driving up here, to me, will be a safety problem. You handled the overhead arch of passing out, you shot all that down.
Yep.
And again, the storage, I can see moving it somewhere else, but the other thing is, and the undercover boss over here is talking about something to take care of all this, and I was thinking of moving the executive director's office to the conference room, getting rid of the medical equipment room, and straight down.
All right,
Yeah.
Jim, number 1, the window. I sat out, no, I don't come here very often, but I sat out there in the parking lot and I watched them go. They blow the horn right there. The lady comes running out with the food, runs out with the food, runs out with the food. I saw it 21 times, the amount of times that I was sitting.
My wife loves doing that.
That-
she does it all the
That's
time.
the idea of the window.
It's the only way she gets exercise. She's not chasing me around the house anymore.
So that was that reason for
And
that.
that's on public
We were doing
TV.
that
She'll
when
love
it
that.
was
Okay.
5 below.
All right, let's get the meeting back under control, please. I
I'm
think,
done.
Yeah,
okay, that was good. Mark, did you
yeah,
have something?
can we let Mike go
Yeah.
back and do his thing, and
Yeah.
let's move on?
I understand. Yeah,
I
it's
would really
important
like
that we
to,
maintain a conference room.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll look at options for trying to make the multipurpose room a little bigger so it can accommodate larger groups, yeah. And we'll try not to lose storage
Don't
because we
lose
need
storage.
storage.
Do not.
Yes.
And conference room.
Yeah, it's called, it's the room stretcher, yeah, or whatever, we're gonna put it in the
Yeah,
stretcher.
no, I
yeah.
think, you know, the CoA, as well as the town hall, are very patron-oriented. They're public service
Yeah.
departments. And they do want as much room for the public.
Yeah.
But you also cannot forget that they are offices and they need space to store
Mm-hmm.
paper, coffee, toilet paper, you know,
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
that
We-
requires
yeah.
to run a
Yeah.
department. And I
Yeah.
think if you look back in the back hall where Beth has it stored, so that you really have to
Mm-hmm.
shimmy around it to get to the restrooms, we need to make sure that we get lots of storage in this
Yeah.
building.
Yeah,
All right, let's move on.
to town hall.
okay, we're gonna move on to town hall, yeah.
Oh,
Too late,
one more.
too late.
Back to the COA. I brought this up at the very first meeting, and I got poo-pooed a little bit about it, but there is no shower anywhere
There is.
within
Yeah,
the...
there is.
There is a shower.
There's a
Go back.
shower there.
In the companion toilet?
That's
In the
shower.
companion toilet,
Right on the hallway there.
By the big blue,
There's a big X through it.
right there.
right
Oh,
there.
okay, thank you.
Just says
Now
that.
we can move on to the town hall. We didn't even move it, so.
Okay, through the
Which side are
chair.
you on?
Jim, through the chair, please. Let's keep the meeting organized.
So
Mike?
Town Hall, I think you're all quite familiar with the site, so no need to get into detail. This is the site plan that was part of the earlier study, just so you can understand, the new Town Hall and its orientation relative to Main Street, East Main Street. I'm just gonna now just dive into the floor plans, if you will. So again, as you look at first glance, everything largely looks the same as it was before, but there's an awful lot of improvements and tweaking and, to get the plans to where it is. And so that there's an understanding, we've met with each department head, had two days, 4-hour sessions of in-depth discussions, reviewing program, reviewing floor plan needs. We received comments, responded to those comments, and, this is a few go-arounds of really trying to perfect the plans and get things to where everyone, to meet the programmatic and functional needs for the new town hall. So, coming in, the parking is mostly down this way. There's gonna be some parking off to the side. Large courtyard here. Come into the vestibule, into a main lobby. There's a stairway just to your left to go up to the second floor. The elevator is right in earshot, right in view, to be able to go up to the second floor. We've got the most important functions on the first floor, meaning the town clerk, the treasurer. These are the departments that are most often visited. Come down the corridor, here's the public meeting room for the select board. We've got a conference, sort of a medium-sized conference room here, storage room, for when this room, we want to be able to take these chairs and sort of put them aside and use the room in a different way. Small kitchenette just to serve the select board. And I'm just going to step back here. You can see that there's a very large 6-hour vault located here that serves the clerk and various town departments. There's a separate 6-hour vault here. Actually, I had that backwards.
Treasurer.
Yeah, treasurer. Yeah, this is for the treasurer, this is for the clerk. But there are two separate 6-hour vaults, is the point that I'm trying to make. On the first floor, we've got public restrooms, staff restrooms, a family restroom, a mother's room, all the things that you see in a contemporary building. Let's see here, we've got veteran services down the hallway here on the first floor. A large conference room to accommodate, what is it, Ed, up to 40, how many, 32 people, is it? Is it 32?
I think it was like 49.
40, wow, it's that, yeah.
Yeah, so the idea is really that first floor can function as your meeting hub after hours, between the large conference room to the bottom, the medium conference room next to the public, and then you've got the big chambers on the right-hand side. You can lock the whole second floor off at night during those events. Obviously, people who work in the building who have credentials can get upstairs, but the general public can't.
Can be closed off, yeah.
And that's why the bulk of the toilets are actually on this floor as well.
Can you go up to the second floor? So, just starting at the elevator, if you would, just open to a relatively modest corridor. The stairway that comes from the first floor is located here. At the end of the corridor is the Board of Health. We've got conservation and IT, and this is the building department, the planning department, which each have their own counters, if you will. And they're going to share certain things like printing and some file space. So there's two departments that have easy connection to one another, but they function independently. There's a conference room which they'll share. They have access to a conference room. They also have this conference room here, just more or less for their own use for building and planning. The town manager's in purple, accounting in blue, and then this is staff break room. In copy space, there's also a similar copy space on the first floor. Second means of egress that will take people directly outside. Right now, we've been designing this stairway to provide access up to the attic, And so, depending on storage needs, we could add a storage space up in the attic if we determine that that's necessary.
You're gonna need mechanics upstairs anyways, right?
There's gonna be a lot of mechanicals up there, yeah. One of the big conversations we've been having with staff is that obviously they've been accumulating files for a very long time. A lot of files that could be digitized have not yet been digitized. There needs to be, ideally, a lot of things would get digitized, which will allow us to reduce the number of file cabinets and storage space. But depending on that process, when that can occur, and ideally it would occur before moving into the building, so that we're not building storage rooms and spaces to accommodate files that really should be digitized, So depending on that, the answer to that, whether there's funding and that process can take place, overflow storage could essentially be up in the attic potentially. But, we're trying, ideally, we wouldn't have to do that space. I think that's one of the things I'm trying to say. We're gonna try to set it up so it can be there, but ideally it's not necessary, because nothing is free. When we put storage up in the attic, there's a cost to that. Weight is a big thing, particularly because it's storage. So again, it's not, we're trying to provide a backup plan, but our goal would be, just again, back to, thinking about budget and the like, would be to not be fitting out any of the attic as storage space.
Mark?
Can you go back to the first floor? Just, I know you had meetings with all the department managers within the building that are going to use the building. I'm just thinking, there's a lot of committees in town.
Yes.
This committee, finance, planning, recreation, whatever. They all meet at night. Is the intent that with multiple meetings, they could use the different conference rooms? Could they be
Yes.
set up with audio?
Absolutely.
So-
It would all be set up with, all would have video, and all could be set up with, cameras and sound systems to allow for remote meetings.
Or hybrid meeting.
Hybrid meetings, yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of committee meetings
Yeah.
that meet at the same
Yeah.
time, same day.
We have to acknowledge that, it's a new world since COVID, and, a lot of meetings that wouldn't have been held, that would have been held in person
Yeah.
before, are now being held, remotely.
How much more do we have to go to say, start the design?
Excuse me?
How long do we have to go before we can say start the design? Are we ready to prove these things? Get ready to go to work?
Well, this one might be further along, or?
No, this is pretty,
You're pretty well there.
You're pretty well there.
well, we are,
We're in schematic
yeah,
design now.
if you saw what we have in the office, we're actually building this in our building information model.
Okay.
So this is in 3 dimensions at the moment. We haven't,
All right.
we're trying to get the plan and the general layout approved. During our upcoming meetings, we're gonna be presenting you with the building information model and how this looks.
I don't want to be waiting and then waiting and waiting.
No, we're thinking about how this is built, we're thinking about, we've already kicked off with our mechanical, our MEP engineers. We try to think about it all at the same time.
Yeah, 'cause my
We
job-
haven't necessarily shared it with everyone, but we're thinking about how to build it, what the structural members are.
We're working a lot with Nancy.
Where the systems are going, there's a lot
What
that
happens-
you don't see.
What happens,
Yeah.
the longer you wait, the more it's gonna cost, material-wise.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yes.
all right?
So based on our schedule to that end, if I could, our goal is to try and develop the schematic design package for both the town hall and the senior center. Get all of the information from the engineers, the narratives to support that, what kinds of systems, what kinds of construction is gonna be employed with it, what kind of finishes, just, we're still, at SD, we're still up,
Yeah.
15,000 feet, but every phase, we're gonna come down
A little bit.
and down until we get to the end, right when we're ready to bid. But the goal with the SD set is to serve as sort of the first benchmark against the budget that's already been approved by the town, to see where the buildings stack up, and to see if we have to trim sails or not, if we're in good shape.
Right, yeah.
And I'd like to take a step back, because, we talk about SD. A lot of people don't know what SD is. It's important to understand how we deliver a project, how we prepare how we get to construction documents and to bidding, right? The first step in the process, at this point, the first step is programming and early planning, which, happened previous to this. This scope of work starts with what we call schematic design. which is basically, working out the general floor plan, generally how the building will be built, what kinds of systems, mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems are gonna go into the building. When we've prepared that base information, we compile all that, it goes to a cost estimator, we get that cost back, we hope we're on budget. If we're not, if we're not, then obviously, we're gonna be presenting the cost estimate to the committee, advising you on where things stand, and at that point, we discuss, we're on budget, we're over budget, we got extra, whatever it might be. Extra doesn't happen often, just to be clear. And as I've mentioned to the committee, we've gone through a time of just exceptional inflation in construction cost escalation. For 2021, construction increases are somewhere around 10%. If average inflation was at 7 or something like that, construction was even more. There's a shortage of labor, there's a shortage of materials, we're having trouble getting things like single-ply roofing, different kinds of gypboard, insulation, all kinds of things are in shortage. Lumber prices have been crazy, steel, everything has gone exceptionally high. Now, you can see that, I'm not trying to play economist, but, it's hard to know where the future is going to lie, but most people would still suggest that inflation is going to remain elevated over what it's been over the last 20 years. So normally, as we were doing projects, we would be anticipating 3.5% escalation on a long-term basis over time. Per year. If you look over, we've had jumps of 6, 7, 8%, over the last few years, but if you look over time, over the last 20 years, the average would be somewhere in the range of 3 or 3.5%. Things have changed, and so when we come back with the first schematic estimate, we're just gonna have to see where we are, and then based on that, we have to react to that.
Yeah.
Reductions, simplifications, and all the things that we discuss. Could be anything from audiovisual to furniture to site work to, it's all there,
We've all been there.
Yep.
So following schematic design is what we call design development, where we work to get the project back to budget, if you will, back on budget, and we further develop the project. At the end of the design development phase, we do another cost estimate, check where we are, and then the next step is construction documents, which also are often referred to as bid documents. So those are the steps leading us to bid. So my point of all this is that there's still a long path, but we're well along that path. Yeah.
Well, according to, and then Bob, I'm gonna go
Yep.
to your
Okay,
question.
yep.
According to your timeline, bid documents and bid and construction documents for the Council on Aging should be ready to go out September
That's our, yes.
to bid.
Yeah.
And for the town hall in
Yeah,
January.
Yeah. What, the
So
tricky
believe it
thing-
or not, September is not that far away.
It's not that far away, and that's what we're pushing to accomplish. The approvals are part of that issue, right? We need Conservation Commission approvals, we need Mass DOT approvals, because it's, that's a public road.
Highway, yeah.
And so we've still got a lot of things to get through, but, our team, we're working fast, and, the holdups, if you will, if there are any, will relate to the approvals, which, it's often hard to understand just what it's gonna take. We have on-site septic at the senior center as well, it's at Council on Aging, and so, we need state approvals, and hopefully all that goes well. But we have developed a schedule based on what we believe is possible. It's not a, we believe we can
Right.
accomplish it,
But
absolutely.
we are well within schedule.
We're good.
Yes, yeah.
Bob, you had a question?
Yeah, I just had a question. Is there going to be any fire suppression systems? in
Both
these-
buildings will have
Both buildings
complete
are.
fires, yes,
Yeah.
sprinkler
Okay,
systems,
good.
yes,
They have to be.
yeah.
It's a statute. So, yeah, no, you have for the COA schematic design phase submission April 7th. I mean,
Yeah.
we're moving.
Yeah,
We're moving
good with that.
rapidly,
Yeah, we
yeah,
really are.
and for
Yeah.
the town hall, May 25th, so we are moving
Yeah.
right along
Yeah.
with
We've got
narrowing
a
it down.
tremendous amount of work completed, absolutely. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
In the old days, and just to explain a little bit, you know, we would develop, when we develop the floor plans now, again, this is actually developed in 3 dimensions. So it's not just a floor plan, there's sections, there's elevations, there's all the things, you know, it's all being developed as we're making plans. It's really, it's
interesting.
It's a new world, it really is, yeah, how we work is, you know.
Like looking at the building
Yeah,
inside out.
and maybe the next time we come, we'll come with the Revit model so we can show you just how powerful it is, yeah. Wow. It'll be fun, yeah, yeah. Maybe we could, it'd be great to meet at my office sometime.
Where is it?
When's your office?
Providence.
Too far away.
It's too far
We
away.
can really show you the technology.
You can zoom in, Bob.
Yes,
Steve, do you have any comments?
Can't hear you, Steve. Oh,
Yeah.
No, I think Mike covered it fairly well. You know, this, as much as it feels like we're just starting, we are on a tight schedule. You know, it's sort of self-imposed, and then we are hearing that people are getting impatient that things aren't getting done. So I guess we want to get going on some things. Mike, I did have one question. Did VHB actually start the survey work on that weekend of the
Yeah,
February 26th?
in fact, yeah, they're gonna be done. I got, Ed just said the date, and I just wanna confirm, what did you say, Ed, for the senior center? Survey, it will be complete on 4/8 is the date that I have. The survey will be complete on 4/8.
Sorry about that work.
For the senior center.
For the senior center, yeah, and it's gonna be the
Okay.
end of the month, it's gonna be the end of the month for, the end of April, for town hall.
For the initial piece.
Yeah, for the initial piece, yes.
They were gonna try and expedite the utilities.
Yeah.
And
They're actually gonna do that as an aerial survey, so they're in the process of arranging for the flight and getting that worked through. Mhm. There was a delay with the surveys, I think you all recall, because of snow and just the terrible weather that
Right.
has occurred, but we're trying to, we are moving forward. Mhm.
Okay, because I know they were trying to sneak in on a weekend. And,
Yeah, yeah, and I believe they did, Steve. Mhm.
Survey is one way of boots, that's the problem.
Yeah, they've been working weekends, yeah, to try to catch up. Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's all good. No, I mean, that's, you know, I think, you know, we would like to try and lock in on a layout, you know, as soon as we possibly can. That allows Mike and Ed to really get moving in the right direction as far as, you know, expanding their drawing set, their details, and really letting their engineers and sub-consultants go. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not looking for any kind of a vote tonight, but we want to get some kind of a direction that, you know, maybe town hall layout is good as is and you can go, or whether there might be some questions.
Wonder how Mike is about that, Mike Eunice.
Mike, units? Do you think the town hall layout is good for your all's needs?
Yes, I haven't heard, I mean, everyone has looked at that last revision, and I haven't heard any concerns.
Yeah, the biggest thing was splitting up the planning and building, and then what was it?
Treasury.
The treasurers and town clerk.
Yeah, and we ended up doing all four, you know, we separated building and planning as well as the clerk and.
Everybody else seems pretty
we refined it all.
satisfied with the layout of their space.
Excellent, yeah.
Okay, so we're pretty good to go on the town hall.
Yeah, in the senior center, I believe as well, we just need to make
Couple
those
things.
small
Couple
adjustments,
Just
right?
small changes that we could see.
Because that allows us to really begin to develop the envelope, which we're doing, but it will just keep going. And the inside's gonna move a little bit, but not
There's a few
substantially,
minor changes
right?
to make.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now, in order to approve those changes, do we need another meeting before our monthly meeting? I mean, I want to keep things moving along.
I'm hoping I
I
can
think
send
he's-
you via email. Is that possible?
Yeah, but I can't take a vote via email.
I see, yeah.
Do we need to vote on the?
Well, here's
Well,
the
we
thing
need
to
to
think
signal
about.
approval.
Yeah.
If we got a consensus that the layout is what we want to have, you know,
It's the overall
You know,
layout.
during design development and construction, there's certainly gonna be minor changes here and there, especially
Yes.
as the engineers say, hey, listen, I need to take some space for a mechanical chase and so forth, so,
I
you
think now
know,
it's just general.
trying to say we're gonna vote on a layout and
He's
then not
absolutely
change
right.
it, you know, we wouldn't be able to meet that, but I think if it's like, you know, a consensus that this is the layout that we want to go with,
Overall.
plus or minus spaces that need to change for
she went.
utilities and structure,
Yeah.
I think that may be a better direction to go.
So I believe we have consensus for the town hall. Is that correct,
Yep.
committee?
Yep.
Jim?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
I
the
think
only thing
that-
we need is the COA.
There's only a few minor
Yeah,
changes in the
yeah.
COA.
Yeah.
Very
Mike?
minor.
I think we have it. It's just
Overall, the
they need to
COA,
look
it
at a
sounds
couple
like
of
it's
issues that
ready
were brought
with
up
your
tonight.
approval. We just need to improve,
Yeah.
you know, see what we can do
We need that
to get that.
Yeah, no, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that the COA board is happy with it.
No, I understand.
Because once you
Yeah.
get consensus for us and start down that road full speed
COA,
ahead.
yeah.
Diana,
Yes, sir?
what I find, even in the town hall, as I walk through the town hall, there's always some office that wasn't satisfied with the town hall. You can never satify everybody.
No, I realize
Right,
that.
okay.
And we're working with a limited budget, and we're doing the best we can with what we have, all right? A few minor changes I agree with, I
Yeah.
have no problem with
Yeah.
that, all right?
Yeah. And I think to Steve's point, we want you to understand, this isn't the last time you can change
No,
the
no.
plan.
No, no, you can do
What
it.
we're really trying to do is to say, this meets the programmatic requirements, the general layout is satisfactory, and as we develop the building further, you're gonna see, we're gonna manipulate the restroom one more time to fit another shaft in, or the shaft that we drew isn't quite big enough, so we're gonna make modifications. It's just, we wanna know that overall, things are meeting the, you know, the general, the programmatic requirements,
Okay.
and, you know, and, you
I
know,
think-
because design is a continual process of just, you know, improving,
making
improving,
changes as you go
improving.
along.
You know,
Will.
what we
Till we
would,
go with the bid?
what we're trying to do is make sure you're not, you know, where where in a month, you wanna add a space that wasn't here, or you wanna, you know, put something on the first floor that's presently on the second floor, or, you know, those kinds of, you know,
Right.
significant changes. But we might come back, and next time we show this room, it's a foot narrow, and this got a foot bigger, and, you know, we'll make those,
You do what you gotta do.
as we develop the plans, yeah.
Right, I have no problem with minor adjustments.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just think we need
Yeah.
to come to
Yeah,
a somewhat of a
Yeah.
speak now or forever
Yeah.
hold your peace
Yeah.
on,
yeah.
you know,
I'm just,
on things.
I know
We've heard
sometimes,
tonight with good
Yeah,
ideas,
yeah.
and we need to,
a lot of times, you know, architects, we forget that not everyone's been through the process, and so I'm as much trying to explain the process so that everyone can understand, you know, at least the process which we work, and, you know, I'm just trying to give everyone an overview of that.
Bob,
But,
you were gonna say something?
no, as far as I'm
Okay.
concerned, the town hall is fine, all right? I think we should go with it. And a few minor changes on the.
COA, we can go with that
We
too,
go with that, too. I can't
consensus?
see this, do it.
Yeah, just
Do it,
move.
go.
Yep.
You wanna make a vote?
No.
No, I don't think we need a vote, as he said, we just need consensus.
As far as I'm concerned, it's good.
Okay,
I'm all set with it.
all right, we have consensus. Bob, you're
I
good?
think we're good.
Mark?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
have fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. We're having fun.
Yeah, let's go.
Not too many roadblocks, huh?
Okay, is there anything else on the Town Hall Senior Center this evening? Okay, Jim, schools.
They have, I didn't prepare any notes, but they're moving along. They came out with specifics today, and I am supposed to pick up the copies tomorrow on how the sewer is gonna go and the proposal for the sewer.
Okay,
But I guess that's the separate article for the town meeting, is how they're planning on doing that. They have the finalized sketches on the athletic fields were out yesterday. I'll forward them to you.
okay.
Are they on budget, Jim? Are they, what they doing?
Yes, every meeting I've gone to, the first thing they start out with is, if we have to make a change, which the whole artificial turf argument then we'll have to delete something. They know they have X amount of dollars, and it's not gonna be X plus one. I think, having lived with a couple other departments that'll go unnamed in the town, they don't wanna come back with X plus one. And that was the philosophy here.
Right,
They know
nobody
the
does.
follow-through between Sherry and myself, that it's gonna be X and not X plus one.
Okay.
Good,
Before Mike leaves,
yes.
the sketches that you had, the next time you have something like that, could we get copies?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I thought we started this whole process out because I'm a paper person. And
I gave you papers right there.
they were his and he took them again. I don't have them anymore.
I got it. I think I got it.
Please.
So, yeah, you have a copy, somebody else has a copy,
I don't have
the
a copy.
I
chairperson
got a
doesn't
small
have a
one.
copy.
I don't even.
I mean, that's not the,
I got it
and
here.
you have a copy.
We're trying to conserve paper.
Huh?
I have
I
small
don't care,
ones.
I planted
I
trees
have-
from my dead friends.
Jim, I want to scan
I
it
don't
and
have
then I'll give it to you.
Oh,
No,
I'll give it to you
No, let me,
I got,
Or send you-
I will send you PDFs.
Where are you gonna scan it?
I got
Town
town
hall.
work.
Still.
A town
That's all
hall.
right, Mike's gonna send it.
I'm gonna send, I'll send PDFs.
This is.
Yeah,
Chair?
PDF,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Then you'll distribute, is that, or is that what you
Yeah,
do?
because I don't have a copy of it,
Yeah,
so
no,
that's fine.
PDFs, you'll get PDFs, yeah.
Okay, that works.
Very easy.
But I want you
And
to
next
know,
time, hard copies.
hard copies.
One
You
hard copy.
you remember that also.
I got it.
please.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Now you
much.
can go.
Thank you.
Night, thanks, Mike.
Is there, so you're done with your school report?
Yes, they're moving along. I'm not gonna go on record as an ending date. I remember reading it, but they have come out with everything. I will forward it to you and you can forward it. For whatever reason, I forgot to forward it, and I'm not making copies of 26 pages out of my printer, so,
Okay. If you forward it to me, then I can forward it on.
okay, I'll let you.
When are they bidding that job?
When are they bidding? I don't know. Well, they're not gonna bid the sewer because they gotta go to the town meeting
Town meeting for
to
that?
get approval for the sewer connection, because they took that out of the project.
I can't understand how the school department's gonna pay $600,000 to tie into a sewer line that we own. That doesn't make sense to me. I can't understand, I still can't understand.
Okay, I got an email from Dr. Byetta that I'm just reading now. And March 16th through the 31st is their bid period. March 22nd at 10 a.m. is the pre-bid conference.
What day, what was that?
March 22nd at 10 a.m. And I'll forward this to everybody. March 31st at 2 is the bid opening. April 6th is bid review and award. April to May 2022, the shop drawings and submittal review. May 3rd, pre-construction conference. April through October, construction phase. Substantial completion set for the end of September. Project closeout, final completion October 2022.
That's pretty good.
So,
Yeah, I was gonna
so
say
they're bidding it
December.
without the sewer work?
Yes, without the sewer, that's going to be separate. And I am now forwarding this that I just got, to everybody.
Good.
Deros, you are Robert for some reason. Jim, here we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll do Jack. Okay, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. And I would like to say that you've done yeoman's work on this one, keeping up with the Conservation Commission and everything. You've done a very good job. On behalf of the building committee, I thank you. Okay, let's set our next meeting.
We can go back on Mondays if you want, but the two principals have left, so I guess we stay on Tuesdays.
Is Steve here? No, Steve's gone.
Steve's gone?
Mike and,
Yeah, Steve's gone. Okay,
I thought
we,
Mondays worked better for him.
I think Mondays do work better for him. And we meet the second Monday? So that would be April 11th,
Yep.
April
That's our next meeting.
11th.
the 11th of April. Well, Friday is our, no, we don't need a meeting Friday.
No, we're all set.
No, we're
Yeah.
all set.
Why?
Because we already got the,
We don't have the account number.
Oh, that's right, we don't have the account number.
All right, but I'll call you on the
You
phone.
call me,
Or
yeah.
you call me, so you get it, and I'll say, okay, go ahead. Because I won't
Okay.
Zoom you, you know that.
I know. And Jim, if you want to shoot me an email with your vote, and then Bob.
yeah,
and
send it out, we'll get back
Send
to
it
you.
out.
Where do we want to meet? Where were we meeting?
We were-
Library?
Just do a vote
we-
and email.
Let's do a Zoom, because the
No,
library.
for the 11th.
Oh, for the 11th, let's try the library again.
You live.
You don't like here, or?
I do like you.
Oh.
The library has a lot of parking in case the
Got
public
a book
wants
for you,
to
by the
come.
way.
Yeah?
Guilty Wives. Read
Guilty
it. You
Wives?
won't put it down, I'll tell you right now.
Okay, well, before we start book reviews.
Yeah, really?
We'll do April
Let's close the
11th
meeting
at the
first.
public library. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
6